Hi, welcome back to Crochet Creations and a crochet tag. I have been tagged. I was tagged by Carrie Penny, the Happy Crafty Homemaker. Hi, Carrie. And a bunch of you have been doing this video. And you know, a few years back we used to have tags like this. And it was fun. It was fun. And we haven't done it in a while. And some of these questions have been answered before, but we haven't done it in a while. So I guess we needed one, right? I'm going to tag someone. Beverly at Beverly's Crafts, you have been officially tagged. I don't know whether or not you've done it or not, or if you've been tagged yet, but I know you're on vacation, so when you get home, you know, I had to throw you under the bus and make you... Anyway, so there are about 10 questions, I believe. I wrote some of them down, most of them down, as each one was asked, and then I went back to the list and checked, and I had missed one. So I have 9 written down and then 1 squeezed in there. All right, well, let's get on with it. How did you learn how to crochet is the #1 question. Well, that was an easy one. Grandma, when I was about 8 or 9, I'm remembering 9, she just kept working on things in front of me when I was visiting, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I bugged her and bugged her. She took a whole big box of scraps and gave them to me and taught me how to do a granny square. And believe it or not, I made up all those scraps in a granny square. And not one. I mean, I did several granny squares, but they were pieced together. And I do have that blanket somewhere. I just haven't located it. I think it's up in a wardrobe blanket upstairs. I have to go up there and look. I thought I put it away in the cabinet down here, but I looked and I didn't find it. Maybe I gotta look harder. Anyway, I wanted to bring it on today, but I couldn't find it. And after that, I was hooked, and I just kept making things and learning how to do more and more and more. And then I lost Grandma, and that was only 6 years of learning from her. So eventually I had to teach myself how to read a pattern, and it was when I really became, I think, more, I can make more things because I could read a pattern. I didn't just have to do what she had taught me, just the basics. So that's that. Now that was when I was 9, so my heavens, 50 years of crocheting is a long time. All right, favorite things to crochet. Well, if you watch here, you know, baby items, right? Sweaters and blankets, and now I'm getting a little into some toys and some loveys and things like that. But basically, baby items is where it's at here. Now, it used to be the whole sets. I'd make a sweater and a hat and a blanket to match. And I like to create themes. I like to tie in, say, you know, a theme that they're going to do in their room. Maybe animals or, you know, depending on what they do and what colors and things like that, I tie in. A lot of times I sew things on to the sweaters or the blanket to match them up, like giraffes, or, you know, okay. So yeah, a lot of that kind of creative, where you couldn't buy it. It was created just for you, that kind of thing. That is my favorite to do. All right, favorite yarn if you ever had to use just one for the rest of your life. Okay, this one was a very good question as far as the girls, what they were answering. Now, if you meant favorite weight, I would definitely say DK, hands down. You can do a lot more with it. That's why it's the favorite in Europe. It makes great sweaters and wearables of all kinds. It makes great baby items because it's drapey enough. And so, yeah, it would be DK, definitely. But then I thought, well, if they meant favorite yarn, that they don't only make one, and you would have to pick that one. All right, so now we have to narrow it down to maybe a brand that is versatile enough, that has enough colors to satisfy us. I gotcha. So that would be definitely Heartland. So they have tons and tons of colors. I think it's drapey enough that it could be versatile. It is a 4, but it's a light 4. And it comes in 100 colors. Right? It comes in a ton of heathered colors. And that to me is just beautiful. I think this would be the one that I could use forever. I'd have to have a lot of colors though. So you could live with this, and it's not real expensive either. It's right in the price that it should be, I think, because my gosh, there's a lot of yardage on these, and I never can find. Yeah, 251 yards. So 4 of these, right, goes a long way. That is definitely what I would pick if I had to pick one for the rest of my life. But is it my favorite? It's darn close. Yeah, I don't know if it is my favorite. I didn't think on that far. All right, we'll go on. The weirdest thing that I have ever crocheted. Weirdest? You know, I don't know that I would say it's weird, but when you look at your whole 50 years and you think of practical, usable things that you made over and over and over, blankets and Afghans and baby stuff and sweaters. If you want to categorize it in weirdest, I don't think I could. I don't think I just picked something out of the crazy and made it just because. No. But I have made, like a lot of you mentioned, Halloween items, and they weren't weird. They were just that. They were for Halloween, like a lot of, like a bat outfit. Or I mean, you know, like Dracula with the cape. I made that. And but I think that, you know, if you want to pull in the weird or the not weird, I don't know what I don't think I have anything in that category. But if you want to pull in something that's different, someone asked me to make fish, and they were stuffed, so they are considered amigurumi, I guess. But I did do some fish. I did them all different sizes, gave them to her. She was putting them in glass jars, making them look like little fish tanks. That's the only time I've ever done that, is that one time. And I didn't have a lot of fun doing it, so I didn't do it again, but that to me is weird. And then I made a cow blanket. So this blanket, when you drape it over the crib, the spine of the blanket has a cow head on one side and cow tail on the other. And then at the bottom of the blanket on each side are the legs. That is weird to me. And when you lay it out on the floor, then you see the cow. That was weird to me. I have purchased that pattern. It came with a couple others. And it's okay. But to me it was weird. So that's that. something you will never crochet. All right, so number 5, which I missed, and I had to put it in as not a number. Something you will never crochet. All right, so I remember when we were getting the 3-month Jimmy Beans subscription. We would get it for 3 months, and you get a third of it, and then a third of it, and a third of it. And we were supposed to make a poof. And I'm like, what in the heck is a poof? It was a floor, a footstool, I guess. And I'm like, I'm not crocheting a footstool. I'm not doing that. I'm going to put my feet on it. It's not going to work. No. So I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because it would have, I don't know, it would have been weird. But definitely, Carrie, you have nailed it. We are not making underwear. We are not making swimsuits. We are not making halters. It isn't in the plans. No, we're not making them. So I agree with you there. All right, we'll move on to 6. Where do you get inspiration from? I want to tell you, I get it from the yarn. I definitely get it from the yarn. I'll be going along in a magazine, and I'll find something in a magazine that grabs me, but because the reason why it grabs me is because of what yarn they used and how it came out in the picture. If it's plain, I might just flip right by. I mean, plain meaning the yarn didn't grab me, right? It would have to be a nice enough in my already I'm looking at, and I already do that kind of thing for the picture to grab me. But most of the time, it's the yarn. So you're going in the store and you see this color and you go, I gotta have it. And you're like, why? Well, it's speaking to me. It's telling me it wants me to make a hat out of it. And I do make lots of hats. I am, yeah, this would tell me that. But it also might tell me to pair it up with something next to it, right? And maybe more of this color, less of this color. But yeah, I start thinking in my head when I see the yarn. So that's my inspiration. But yeah, magazines definitely help, especially Hirschner's. Hirschner's magazine has helped me many, many times, especially when that was all there was years ago. You'd get a Hirschner's magazine, you were like, okay, get the coffee, go out on the porch, put your feet up, look at the Hirschner's magazine. And I would look at some of like the graphs. You could see the pattern in the graphs right in the pictures if you looked at them real close, and you could count the stitches, and you could create from those pictures. So that was a lot of inspiration back then. Maybe more so now with some YouTube videos. Okay, but I haven't lost any of the creative, I want to try this, I've not lost that. So that's good. All right, let's go on. Favorite or most proud of item that I have made this year. Now this question again not stumped us, but made us think in a whole year from July to July or in 2025. So how many items have I made in 2025 that I would consider that I was very proud of? Well, probably all of them, because I'm proud of all of them, yes. But this one, I'm pretty proud of. It's a corner to corner, and I don't think I've made that many corner to corners. And I really like this because the yarn, again, spoke to me. It gave me inspiration, and I thought, corner to corner, let the colors make the blanket. Let, you know, the stitches aren't important, right? You don't see the stitches when you pick this up. All you see are the stripes and the colors. And that's what I'm saying. Another item that I think I'm proud of is that I have started this, and I'm not done yet, but let's put her in. There you go. That's the head of the lamb I've been working on, and I'm proud of it. I'm super proud of it. I don't think finishing it is going to be that much harder, but I'm super proud of that. That's something that I've never done. And, you know, but if you're talking about a year from July to July, then I think that I'm most proud of is this shawl that I made within the year with this colorway that I really thought was beautiful. And I don't think I've made that many shawls, but this one is done in the very thin and a big cake, you know. So I think that I'm most proud of that. And that was made for my daughter's wedding. So, you know, that makes you proud, right? When you're doing something for a reason. And that's going to be, you know, in pictures or whatever that, you know, anyway. And that people, you know, want you to do things like that. All right, so let's move on. Crocheted plans that you have for the future. Well, there's always a ton of plans. This whole room is full of yarn that may be plans for the future, right? All I know is that I have some yarns that I haven't caked up yet that I wanted to make a sweater with, and I brought 2 of them out here. They were purchases that I got that I would not normally buy myself. I had a chance to get them at a little bit of a discount, and so Cascade Yarn Superwash was on sale, and I got this purple. I only got 5 of these, and I'm thinking the reason why is because they had bags, a bag sale, and there were 5 in the bag. I'm not certain. I can't remember, but it's calling to me to be made into a sweater. Okay, so this one is an Aran weight, and they run, and they say machine wash, tumble dry on them. So if you made a sweater, you could definitely wash it. It's super wash. 150 yards and only have 5, so it's going to be, you know, I'm thinking it can't be a real complicated sweater because I might run out, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to be real careful what I pick on that one. And then I got a second color. This one has greens, but they're basically the same idea, speckles, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's got green and tan speckles, and I have 7 of these, so that ought to be enough, I hope. But they came in bags, so I don't remember. Yeah, this one has 7. I don't remember if it was per skein or they just didn't have enough of the purple, or what. But that is my plan, is to try and use this and make myself a couple sweaters to wear to work. And they're not going to be started right away, but that's some kind of future, right? Okay, the next one. Worst thing about crochet. Worst thing? Okay. Now, when I was 20-ish, yeah, I'm going to say between around 25 and 40, those 15 years, I was cranking out blankets for everybody. I would make 2 and 3 a year and give them as Christmas gifts. And it didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter if it was Granny Square. It didn't matter if it was Navajo. Whatever it was cranked out rather quickly. I had a little love seat. I'd spread it out on the left-hand side of me so it wasn't touching me. Didn't matter what time of year it was. It was good. Now I'm picky. Now I'm like, it's too hot. Blah, blah, blah. You know. So my what has happened over that time? I don't like sewing granny squares together. That is my worst thing. I don't like it anymore. I know that a lot of people say tying in your ends or sewing in your ends. Well, it depends on how many of there are, because if you only have, say, 3 or 4 ends, it's done. It's not going to take long. But sewing together a whole entire 90 some squares, I don't like it anymore. It's a chore to get myself to do it. Okay. All right, well, gotta figure out a way to say to yourself, do this for half an hour, and then you can reward yourself and do something else, right? That is what I got to do. I do it at work. I say, do this for half an hour and then stop. Don't do it for hours, because that makes you hate it even more. That's what I think I have to do. All right, so the other thing that I don't like about crochet is very bulky yarns. Anything like a 6, you keep wrapping over and over and over with crochet, and a 6 just gets thicker and stiffer, and I don't like using a 6 in crochet. Nope, don't like it. Turned around and used it somewhere else and thought, wow, a 6 is okay once in a while. So I do like to keep some around for certain things. But I do have to say that when I made this, I made it with a double I think we took a 5 or a 6 and doubled that with a big huge hook. And you know what? You want it to be stiff and not moving, right? So yeah, that curbed that a little bit. I hadn't made baskets when I was a kid. I don't know why, but every year it seems like we still are learning something new, and that's what's good about crochet, right? All right, so what else? Oh, worst thing. I also remember I made an Indian head blanket. That was the crochet Afghan stitch. That's what they called it. You Afghan stitch this entire grid for yourself, and then you turned around and cross stitched on top of it. The worst part of that was your back didn't look like your front. My back looked horrible, but people liked it. It was fine. They figured out a way to change the colors in. I don't want to do that, but again, that's a lot of work. I don't like that anymore. And blanket yarn? No, I'm not. I'm not into making a blanket out of blanket yarn. I think that that's just the modern way of doing it quicker. You have faster satisfaction. You have a blanket. It's soft. Okay, but it's not my cup of tea. All right. All right, so then we're getting to the last thing. My favorite thing about crochet. Favorite things about crochet. Wow, I think I've named a whole bunch in this video so far. But I'll tell you what, my favorite thing about crochet is gifting handmade items. That is absolutely my favorite thing about crochet. But the second thing is how you can block out whatever has happened to you today and look at your work and feel it and add some stitches, and it helps remove that stress or remove whatever made you upset. I really think it does. It's very therapeutic, and I think that is why I always turn back to it. It's a craft that is meditative, or it makes you proud. It makes you feel a self-worth. So I encourage anyone out there that needs something to help make them feel good about themselves to at least try it. All right, I think I've answered all the questions. If you would like to tag yourself below and comment your answers, or even just answer one or two of the questions, please do. I love to read your comments. We all do. We all do. And that's the other favorite thing about crochet that I love. There is something about a person that crochets inside. They are so beautiful. They put it in their work. They put it in their personality. And we have created a community on here of people that are like that. The Crochet Society on Facebook, on YouTube, they are so special people. And that's another thing that you cannot create just like you can't. It's not fake. It's real. That's a real heart kind of person, and that is never gonna be forgotten. You know, it's out there. It's obvious, and you all know what I'm talking about. Yes. All right. Hey, take a moment out of each day and crochet. Bye for now.